Welcome back to my channel. I'm Joe with Smokin Joe's Pit Barbecue. On today's video, I'm going to be making an Habanero Cheddar summer sausage. Stay tuned. All right, let's get started on this summer sausage recipe. I'm going to be starting with 50 pounds of brisket trim. Now this brisket trim is left over from the briskets that I trim on my food truck, and a lot of the fat has already been removed. Now depending on the size of your grinder, you want to make sure that you cut the pieces down just small enough to fit down the throat of your grinder. So I made a summer sausage video about 2 years ago. It was a summer sausage video for beginners. And I can't believe it's been 2 years since I've made summer sausage, and believe it or not, I still have one of those chubs of summer sausage that I vacuum sealed, and it's inside my deep freezer. I might take it out and have some of it later on in this video. So the video that I'm talking about that I did 2 years ago has about 500,000 views, so if you guys have not seen that video, I highly recommend that you go watch that video. Now this brisket right here is pretty lean. Now if you're using a whole brisket, you want to take off some of the fat if it looks too fatty. You want, again, a 70-30 meat to fat ratio. And I think I've got that with these brisket trimmings right here. So I'm just going to cut up all of these trimmings and I'll bring you guys right back. Alright, so all of our brisket trim is cubed up. The next step is to grind the meat. Now I'm going to grind this meat twice. The first time I'm going to be using this 10mm die, and the second time I grind it I'm going to be using this 4.5mm die. The reason I'm double grinding it is because I really want this meat emulsified, okay? Remember, we're making a summer sausage, not like a hot link or anything else that you don't really need to double grind. Anytime that you're making a summer sausage, bologna, etc., you want a double grind and you want that meat emulsified enough. That way you end up with a really nice product. Alright, so now I'm just going to grind up the meat. Pretty simple process here. I do have the switch on my grinder on, and I am using a foot pedal, so if I step on the foot pedal, it turns my grinder on. And by the way, if you're new to sausage making and you don't have the equipment needed to make sausages, check out meetyourmaker.com at the link below. That's all the equipment I've ever used since I started making sausages, probably around 3 years ago, and it has not failed me once. I highly recommend it. Again, check them out at the link below. So here we go. Alright, so I've got all of the meat ground up. The next step is to add our seasonings. Now I am going to be using these seasoning packages from PS Seasoning. This is the 500B summer sausage seasoning. Now you can make your own summer sausage seasoning if you want to, but I leave this to the professionals. PS Seasonings, that's what they do. Now PS Seasoning makes it really easy by putting together these summer sausage kits, okay? Alright, so I'm just going to mix this real quick. And again, we're going to be grinding this again, so these seasonings will get mixed in there pretty good once I grind it the second time. Now one thing that I do want to mention is that these seasoning packages from PS Seasoning, this one right here, the one that I'm using is the 500B, already has sodium erythorbate mixed into the ingredients. And what that's going to do is it's going to act as a cure accelerator. That's going to allow us to go ahead and case these and smoke our summer sausage in the same day, so you don't have to wait 12 to 15 hours for the sodium nitrite to convert to nitric oxide. The conversion process is going to happen pretty quick. In fact, once we start stuffing these sausages, the sodium erythorbate is already going to start converting the sodium nitrite again into nitric oxide. So if you're making your own seasonings at home, you do want to add a little bit of sodium erythorbate. You want to add 1/2 ounce to 50 pounds of meat, or 1/4 ounce to 25 pounds of meat. And that will act, again, as a cure accelerator. All right, I'm going to change out the die to the 4.5mm. And if there's any meat in here, I'm going to go ahead and pull it out and grind it a second time. Here's my 4.5mm die. All right, here we go. All right, so I've got all the meat ground up a second time. Again, the first time was with the 10mm die, second time with the 4.5mm die. So I'm gonna pop this in my freezer for about an hour, let it get really nice and ice cold. Meanwhile, I'm also gonna be chopping up 2 pounds of Habanero peppers, and I'll bring you guys right back. All right, so I just pulled the meat out of the freezer and I put it inside of my mixer right here that attaches to my grinder. The next step is we need to add our cure to the mix. So this is the cure that I use to make our summer sausage. This is the number 159, again from PS Seasoning, a maple cure, and this will treat 25 pounds of meat. Again, we have 50 pounds, so I'm gonna be using 2 of these bags. Now, inside of this maple cure, you'll find our sodium nitrite, okay? So there's no need to add any additional sodium nitrite into your sausage mixture. I like to add the cure in with some water. So I've got 20 ounces of water right here. All right, I'm gonna start mixing it and slowly add our maple cure. All right, so that's been mixing for a couple of minutes. Next, I'm gonna add 2 pounds of finely chopped habanero. So I've made an habanero sausage before, not a summer sausage, just a regular sausage, and I use 2% of the total weight in habanero pepper. On this recipe, I'm using 4% because the 2% on the last sausage I made wasn't really spicy at all. So this should kick it up a notch. All right, so I'm just gonna mix it up. All right, so the meat has been mixed for about 10 minutes or so, and it's really nice and tacky. In fact, you know, it's really nice and sticky, and that's what you want. You want it to stick to your gloves like this right here. That is perfect. Got some really nice protein extraction. Now I did add another 15 ounces of water. I just felt it was a little too dry, and those 15 ounces of water got me this really nice tacky mixture right here. All right, so next I'm gonna add 5 pounds of high temperature cheddar cheese. You can leave the cheese out, but I love summer sausage with cheddar cheese. And again, all of this cheese and all these ingredients are available at PS Seasoning, so make sure you guys check them out. And this cheese is frozen, it came right out of the freezer. All right, so at this point, you don't wanna mix it too much, maybe 1 or 2 minutes, just to make sure that cheese is evenly distributed in the meat, and I'll bring you guys right back. Now, one last ingredient that I'm gonna add to our summer sausage is 8 ounces of encapsulated citric acid. So this encapsulated citric acid is going to give us that really familiar tangy flavor that you find in a lot of summer sausages. It's also going to increase our shelf life. Now, a lot of people used to use this as a cure accelerator, but again, the ingredients that we use from PS Seasoning already had sodium erythorbate, okay? And that's going to accelerate the cure, not so much the encapsulated citric acid. Now, this encapsulated citric acid is set to melt at 135 degrees, but you don't want to take your summer sausage to 135. You want to take it to around 150 to give the encapsulate enough time to really dissolve inside your summer sausage and release the citric acid that's on the inside. So again, I'm adding 8 ounces total. All right, so I'm just gonna pour out our mixture into my lug. All right, so I'm just gonna grab the rest of our mixture. We're gonna get our stuffer ready, and I'll bring you guys right back. All right, so I've got my stuffer set up. Next, I'm just gonna load up my canister with our summer sausage mixture. Pack it in there, make sure you get rid of any big air pockets. All right, load up my canister. Just like that. So I'm gonna be using these fibrous casings also from PS Seasoning. Makes it really easy to stuff. Now, one piece of advice is to put them in warm water for about an hour. Makes them a little bit more pliable, easier to stuff. So these have been sitting in warm water for probably an hour and a half now. pulled it all the way in. And I'm going to turn this down to about 30% speed. You want to hold it kind of tight, make sure it stuffs the end, then slowly release it, just like you're making sausage, okay? Here we go. I'm actually going to lower it down just a little bit more. You don't want to overstuff these either. Leave some at the end so you can twist it. Just like that. And what I like to do is get the end and twist it really nice and tight. Just like that. Get yourself some butcher's twine. So right up against the casing, you want to make a double knot. Make it really nice and tight. And make one more knot. And that is all you need right there. So I'm going to get the rest of these casings stuffed, and I'll bring you guys right back. So I loaded all 28 summer sausages into my ProMax 100S smokehouse, and I will show you guys those here in a minute. Now I did debut this smokehouse in my homemade bacon video. If you guys have not checked that out, go back and watch that video. Homemade bacon is absolutely delicious. I do have the smokehouse set at 110 degrees. If you want to adjust it, all you got to do is hit this wheel right here, hit the center, and turn the knob to the left or to the right. Now I'm going to be smoking these summer sausages at 110 degrees. Well, not really smoking. I'm just going to be drying up the casing for the first hour at 110 degrees. I have the intake and the exhaust opened at 2/3. All right, you guys have waited long enough. Let's look at these beautiful summer sausages. What do you mean you can't see? Oh, wait a minute. The ProMax has a light inside of it. How do you like that? So I've got, let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sticks. The back 3 sticks have 6 summer sausages themselves, and the front 2 have 5 for a total of 28. Now I do want to show you one thing. If you can see here, this casing actually split on me. I've never had a casing split on me, but this is totally my fault. I mean, who else am I going to blame, right? But I believe I overstuffed this casing right here. So it's split in 1, 2, 3 spots right there. Now I was going to change it out, but I made a decision. I'm just going to leave it alone and see if that casing holds up through the cooking process. If it doesn't, oh well, it is what it is. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and close the door so we can start the drying process. Again, 110 degrees for the first hour. Absolutely no smoke. So you guys will have to forgive me, but as you can see, there's 3 ports right here where you can actually put a probe, but I misplaced the probes. I'm blaming my wife secretly. Hopefully she doesn't find out I'm blaming her, but I'm going to try to find them. I have 1 hour to try to find them. If I do find them, I'm just going to plug that in, run it in through the exhaust, and probe one of the summer sausages that's inside the middle of the smokehouse. So we will see you guys in 1 hour. Stay tuned. All right, so these sausages have been drying out for 1 hour. I'm going to go ahead and adjust the temperature. Now you do get a really nice app with a smokehouse from Pro Smoker. So if I want to adjust the temperature, I don't even have to come out here and do it. I can just hit the set temperature right here. I'm going to set it for 135 degrees so we can start smoking. 135, hit set, and it instantly changed on the smokehouse. You can see it says 135 right now. Oh, and by the way, I did find my probe, and it's not my wife's fault. I actually found it. It was my fault. I misplaced it, but there it is. So sorry, babe. Now, one thing that I love about Pro Smoker, what they did with their brand new ProMax 100S smokehouse, is there's 2 doors on the smokehouse now. So now I don't have to open up the big door and lose all that heat. All I got to do is open up this bottom door, just like that. So here's my sawdust pan, and I am using hickory sawdust for this cook. And I did add a little bit of water just so it's nice and moist, just a little bit, not too much. And what you want to do is push the sawdust from the inside out, so you get that wick effect right there. So I'm just going to place this on the burner inside of the smokehouse, right in the middle. I'm going to close the door. So I still have my intake and the exhaust set at 2/3 open. I want to get some really good airflow with that smoke. We're going to be smoking at 135 degrees for 2 hours, and I'll bring you guys right back. All right, so we're 3 hours into the cook, and we're still rolling at 135 degrees. The internal temperature of our summer sausage right now is 92 degrees, just switched to 93 degrees. So let's take a look at our sausages and see what they look like. Oh yeah, smoky, smoky, smoky. You know, so far so good. The casings have a really nice color. And this casing that split on me is holding up. Not bad. All right, so I'm gonna close the door so we don't lose a ton of heat. All right, so at this point, I'm gonna increase the temperature to 160 degrees. Hit set. All right, so I'm looking for an internal temperature of 130 degrees. And again, we're sitting at 92, 93 degrees. Once it hits 130, I'm gonna come outside and increase the temperature to 180. Stay tuned. All right, so 8.5 hours later, and these summer sausages came up to 150 degrees. So I just pulled them off and dunked them all in this ice bath. Now at the 6-hour mark, I did turn up the smokehouse to 180 degrees, and they sat at 180 degrees for 2.5 hours, and they came up again to 150 degrees internal, and that's when I pulled them off. And by the way, the summer sausage casing that split on me, it actually held up pretty good, not too bad at all. So what I'm gonna do at this point is I'm just gonna let these summer sausages cool down a little bit, throw them in the fridge overnight, and tomorrow morning, we'll give them a try. All right, so it's the very next day and our summer sausage is ready. So I'm just gonna move this tray aside and leave one behind here. We'll slice into that bad boy and see how we did. All right, so I'm just gonna take this tip off right here. And yes, I am using a fillet knife. Look at that. Beautiful. Plenty of cheese. It's looking really nice. Got some orange bits of habanero in there. It smells absolutely amazing. So I'm just gonna remove this casing from the sausage. So usually when the casing shrinks a little bit, it could mean a few things. Number one, you may have understuffed them. Number two, you may have added too much water, so a lot of that water got out of the casing. Or number three, a lot of the fat inside of the sausage mixture kind of leached out. And I'm thinking that's what happened with these summer sausages, but as you can see, there's nothing wrong with the summer sausage. It looks amazing. So one thing I am gonna do is I'm gonna test the pH of the summer sausage. So I do want the pH of this summer sausage below 5, okay? Now the other thing that I'm gonna do, since I do have a dry aging cabinet from Pro Smoker, I'm gonna throw these sausages in there for about 3 days just to make these summer sausages a little bit more shelf stable. They're pretty much shelf stable right now, but quite honestly, you'd have to keep it refrigerated because there's still a lot of moisture in this sausage. All right, so let's get a pH reading right here and see where we're at. All right, so it looks like our pH is right at 4.79. Now for summer sausage, you want your pH between 4.6 and 5, and we are right there, right smack in the middle. All right, so I'm gonna grab a few of these slices, take my thumbnail picture, and I'll bring you guys right back. All right, so I've got our habanero cheddar summer sausage all sliced up, and there's nothing left but to give this a try and see how we did. Check this baby out. Nice and cheesy. Got some bits of orange habanero all over the place, and it smells absolutely amazing. Let's give it a try. All right, let's see how we did with our habanero cheddar summer sausage. Looks amazing, smells amazing. Here we go. That spice level is perfect. The seasoning is perfect. It's got that really familiar tang. This is amazing. Oh yeah. Man, I am a charcuterie freak and I am loving this right here. I'm gonna make myself a little sandwich with some Triscuits. The only thing I'm missing is some fig jam. Look at that. So I know some of you guys might have some questions about how shelf stable is their summer sausage. Shelf stable is not like the summer sausage that you buy at the store where you can just vacuum seal it and put inside your cabinet forever, right? This shelf stability in your fridge will last about 3 to 4 months. Now if you vacuum seal it, it might last a little bit longer. One thing that I do is once my summer sausage is 100% ready, I will vacuum seal it and freeze it. And once you freeze it, quite honestly, it is good forever. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I'm gonna throw these summer sausages in my dry aging cabinet for about 3 days just to remove more moisture from the summer sausage itself. That's gonna make it more shelf stable as well. Now, if you don't have a dry ager like I do, toss the summer sausages inside your fridge for about 2 days, let some more of that moisture escape from that summer sausage, and that in itself will give you a little bit longer shelf life. I hope you guys enjoyed this habanero cheddar summer sausage video. If this is your first time to my channel, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoyed this video, give me a thumbs up. Until next time, Joe with Smokin Joe's Pit BBQ. See ya.